Welcome back to The World Today. The U.S. House of Representatives has overwhelmingly passed a Republican-backed legislation to intensify security screenings of Syrian refugees and suspend President Barack Obama's program to admit 10,000 of them in the next year. Under the bill introduced after the terrorist attacks in Paris last Friday, no refugees from Syria or Iraq can enter the United States until several top-level U.S. security officials verify that they do not pose a threat.
That is why I am appalled by the actions of
The bill before us increases the standards to keep those who want to do us harm out. But America is not saying no to refugees. America always stands as a beacon of hope for everyone fleeing oppression and terror. Nothing will stop us from protecting the innocent while continuing our fight against evil. Instead, this bill puts a pause on our refugee program until we are certain that nobody being allowed in possesses a threat to the American people.
But defeating terrorism should not mean slamming the door in the faces of those who are fleeing the terrorists. That is why I am appalled by the actions of this House and by some of the words of my colleagues today. The United States has always been, and should always be a place of refuge. Remember, the Syrian refugees are running away from ISIS. They are running away from war and terror. They are its victims. To stop thousands of desperate people who are fleeing unspeakable violence is unconscionable. We might as well take down the Statue of Liberty.
Joining us on The World Today to further discuss this issue is a lecturer of history and international relations at the Lagos State University, Dr. Dakwa Thomas. You're welcome to the program, Dr. Thomas.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, with what we know about the attacks in Paris, will it be right for Western countries to restrict the numbers of refugees fleeing the crisis in the Middle East from entering into their homeland?
Well, I think it's only natural that such a thing will be the consequence of the Paris attack, because it's normal that when you open your doors to all the refugees, and then they kept coming, and all of a sudden you had this kind of crisis. There is no way you will not have to review your policy in terms of the security, and it's only natural too that when you have a conflict, this kind of situation where you have a conflict where your accommodation policy, your hospitality policy and everything conflicts with national interest, because the situation now is that you want to admit, you want to absorb the refugees, you want to be, you want to place them within your own country. However, the security of your citizens is also at stake. So, where there is this kind of conflict, you have to resolve it in national interest. The national interest, the survival, the security of your citizens is more important than whatever accommodationist policy you may have. The accommodationist policy you are talking about is simply because of your liberal democratic tendencies. But however, no matter the extent or no matter your intention of impressing the world that you are not a kind of restricted society, you are a very open society. At the same time, you have to be very cautious and you have to be very careful about risking the lives of your own citizens. So I'm surprised that the Western world or the Western countries are taking this kind of action. I think it's only natural, and I don't think it's normal, or I don't think it's fair to continue to blame them that they are now reviewing the policy or having a kind of reversal situation over their policy of accommodating the refugees.
Now, Dr. Thomas, let me ask you, some analysts say the current global terror situation in the world, championed by ISIS, could mark the start of the Third World War. Do you agree with this?
Well, for as long as the international system is anarchical, for as long as there is fluidity in the system, for as long as any nation can take laws into its hand, then that means war can start anytime. You saw the situation. They attacked France. They attacked people in France. The Paris attack happened on Friday. By Sunday, without even without going through any diplomatic process or any channel, France took off to Syria to go and attack or bombard ISIS hideouts and ISIS infrastructure. Russia, the same thing. The moment they discovered, or the moment they were able to determine that it was ISIS that was responsible for the bombing of their plane, they took off too. So the same thing. So for as long as there is fluidity, for as long as the system is very fragile, any nation can take. For as long as any nation can react this way, then it's not impossible that Third World War may happen. However, I do not feel that the scale, the level or the extent of escalation is of any serious concern for now. But also, you can never tell, because that's how it starts. When you bombard, where you attack a nation. Although now you can say that they are not attacking a nation, they are only attacking an organization. So that's why I'm saying that the scale of escalation is not something that should worry us, because it's not a nation that is being attacked. Right. You know that Russia and Syria, they have this kind of understanding. So Russia is not attacking Syria per se. It's only attacking ISIS. So ISIS does not have a state. When U.S. attacked Afghanistan as a result of the September 11 attack, was there any problem? No. It didn't lead to any war. So I don't see it. Whether ISIS is being attacked by U.S., attacked by France, attacked by Russia at the same time, attacked, possibly even Britain will join. For as long as this is not aimed, this is not targeted towards a particular state which will likely have allies that will now support. But when you look at it now, which states,
okay, Dr. Thomas,
people are now supporting ISIS? Nobody. They are isolated. So I don't see any escalation beyond the fact that all these powers will gather together to demolish or decapacitate the war machine of ISIS.
All right. Finally, before I let you go, Christmas comes up next month, and there are fears that Boko Haram may strike here in Nigeria. How can Nigeria's security forces forestall any attack from the Islamist group?
The major thing about security is, the first thing you have to do is to ensure that your technology is improved. If you improve your technology in terms of intelligence gathering, in terms of intelligence monitoring, then whatever is left will be operational, and that will be limited. But if you don't improve your technology in terms of CCTV installation and some other monitoring units, and then possibly having some kind of drones, having some kind of surveillance planes, and all sorts of things, then you are prone to attack. You are susceptible to attack anytime. So whether it's Christmas, whether it's New Year, whether it's Eid al-Kabir or anything, they can attack anytime. And even with the level of technology, or maybe your monitoring gadgets and everything, any attack can still happen. But what we are saying is that you should be able to contain it. You should be able to restrict. You should be able to minimize it. There is no way. Like you see, these are suicide bombers. Nobody can tell anybody not to commit suicide. If you want to commit suicide and you are strapping bombs around your body, who will advise you against it? Once you get to the street, then you blow up whatever you want to blow up. So that one, there's nothing you can do about it. But the ones you can do is a situation where people are planting bombs all over. All over the strategic places, But for suicide bombing and going to stadiums,
okay, Dr. Thomas.
Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about people bombing themselves to death.
All right, Dr. Thomas, thank you so very much for joining us on The World today. We do appreciate your insight.
You're welcome.
A group of former U.S. military airmen say lethal strikes by U.S. drones in the Middle East are fueling hatred towards the West and spurring the expansion of Islamist militant groups such as Islamic State. The former U.S. Air Force members held a news conference in a Lower Manhattan office to discuss the U.S. drone program, which is the topic of a new documentary called Drone.
It's destroyed my life in all aspects of it.
As the Intercept drone papers revealed, 9 out of 10 strikes kill the wrong people, and most of the people killed in the U.S. drone strikes are civilians. On the ground, the drone is seen as the most cowardly way to wage war. It's creating a lot of anger, a lot of hatred, and feelings of revenge. The failures of the U.S. drone program is fueling terrorism. Like the head of intelligence for JSOC recently said, the US drone program is creating more militants than it kills. We do hope that this film will spark a very much needed debate on the real consequences of this war. They are dangerous, they're destabilizing our world and fueling terrorism, and that is something that we do need to take seriously. The drone program has a large support here in the States, and we believe that that is due to lack of information, and we hope to change this.
Still talking terrorism, reports say Kuwait has arrested members of an alleged terror cell accused of supplying funds and weapons to the Islamic State. A Lebanese national named Osama Kayat allegedly confessed to buying ammunition and rockets for ISIS. 5 others have been arrested. In June, 27 people died after an attack on one of Kuwait's oldest Shia mosques. It was the worst terror attack in decades in the predominantly Sunni Muslim country. An affiliate group of ISIS, calling itself Najd Province, claimed responsibility for the attack. Still to come on the world today, the United States frees Israel spy Jonathan Pollard after serving 30 years in prison. Details coming up in a moment.